Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive, and we are here in our county office building in downtown White Plains to give you an update on the impending weather that's going to be reaching Westchester County as the day continues. As we're speaking now, we're in the area just past 2:30, approaching 3 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon, August 6th. And the weather outside is still very nice, but all the weather reports show that we're going to have some very severe thunder showers that are ahead of us. And in anticipation of that, we've asked our key executives here in Westchester County government to be prepared to give you a quick briefing on what we expect and what we're trying to do to try to keep you as safe as possible. There will be a number of events that are scheduled in the local communities that have been canceled or postponed. I will cover that at the end after each of our people have a chance to speak. We're joined here by Hugh Grecian, who's our Commissioner of the Department of Public Works and Transportation. We're joined by our Commissioner, Richard Wishney, and our Deputy Commissioner, Susan Spear, of our Department of Emergency Services. The Westchester Department of Public Safety, our Chief of Department, Jim Luciano, is with us here today. We also have with us our Airport Director of Aviation at Westchester County Airport, April Gaspari, is with us here today. We have our Commissioner of Health, Dr. Charlita Amler, is here today, and we have, I guess we have more people. I haven't introduced everybody, but we'll make it a point to have each of them say a few words and add a little bit to your base of knowledge. The most important thing to understand is whatever it looks like outside of the window right now, it is going to get worse. You need to prepare for that, and whatever your evening plans are, take that into account. So first up, Hugh Grecian is responsible with his DPW and transportation team for the conditions of the roadways that we as a county government have responsibility for, and our transportation system, which is Beeline bus system in the Westchester County Airport. So Hugh, give us an update from your perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, County Exec. So this afternoon, throughout the morning, we've been prepared to respond to anything that might happen later on today. The forecast has been upgraded a little bit as of earlier today, so we expect some heavy rainfalls around 5 o'clock, which is rush hour. So if you have a chance to leave work a little bit early, I would do so. The parkway closings could begin as early as 9, 10, 11, depends how the rain bands come in. But we always prepare for the worst, so and hope for the best. So we're covered with our partners, the Parkway Police, on that. That's our main corridor. Now, most of the rain also is forecast for the south of Westchester County, so that's our main focus this afternoon. Again, throughout the night, and also the next focus would be tomorrow morning, depending on when it rains, how much it rains, what parts of the parkway are flooded. We'll do everything we can to open up that parkway for rush hour tomorrow. It would be a challenge, though, with the current forecast holds, because not only we have to wait for the water to go down, then we have to clean it up. So mud, trees, catch basins, whatever might happen, but we're gonna do our best throughout the night. Our county beeline system, right now, again, with the county, it varies. It could range 3 inches in White Plains and 5 in Somers. So please just go online, check the latest routes that may or may not be for the commuting tomorrow. Nothing should be affected tonight on the commuting, but tomorrow morning, please check the schedules for the beeline system. They're posted on the county website as well as the county airport. Right now, there's no delays scheduled right now at the airport, but that can change. So please first check with the airlines, then go to our website, and all the current planes in and out are all the airlines are listed with the most up-to-date information. With that, just be careful. If you don't have to go out after dinner tonight, don't go out. And every municipality, all the crews are going to be out there. The police are going to be out there. It's much easier responding to something that might happen if there's not a lot of traffic on the road. And for everybody's safety, I suggest that you just stay home tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh. Let me remind all of our listeners that Westchester County is directly responsible for major county roads. The Bronx River Parkway is under our responsibility, and that parkway tends to flood. Many times when it is shut down in heavy rain, it is shut down from the split where the Sprain goes to the west and the Bronx River Parkway goes directly north in the Bronxville-Yonkers area, and that flooding oftentimes goes up to the White Plains exits, Main Street and the Crowley Center. When you see barriers up and it says road is closed ahead, believe it. take it to heart. Do not try to go around the barrier. Do not go through high-standing water. You may believe that you can clear it, but you don't know what's ahead of you beyond what you can see. And so it's Hughes' team's responsibility when the determination is to shut the road down, that the road gets shut down. Now, in a second, when Chief Luciano talks about what the county police are able to do, we will have patrols out there, but let's not put them to the test. Let's not ask them to do a water rescue under an underpass that no one thought could flood, that could in fact flood to a serious level. We have stories of people who have perished on roadways because there was high levels of flooding. They tried to take a car through that area, were not able to do it, got out of the car and lost their lives. There are stories of that in Westchester County. We are, as a county government, responsible for the Bronx River Parkway. We're also responsible for Playland Parkway, which goes from the New England Thruway into the Playland Amusement Park. There is an area that can flood significantly, and we may shut that down if circumstances require that. So please follow the directions that Hugh and his crew are going to be out there to deal with it. And I do want to highlight that April Gaspari, as you pointed out, as our Director of Aviation, is monitoring what's happening at the airport. It is particularly concerning the next day, because flights that would come into the county airport, if they are diverted, if they don't make it in, then the equipment isn't there for the next day to leave. And so there may be delays, there may be cancellations. Obviously, check with your carrier, but at the moment, we're fine. And but take that into account. If you're driving to pick somebody up at the airport, call ahead. And certainly if you're driving to fly out for yourself, call ahead. Make sure you make those decisions as part of that process. Next up, Susan Spear, who's our Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Emergency Services, is going to go over a few things. And Commissioner Richard Wishney is at the ready as well. So we're very appreciative of Richard, Susan, and our team in DES for the work they have to do with dispatchers and all of that. Deputy Commissioner Susan Spear.
Good afternoon. Thank you, County Executive Latimer and Deputy County Executive Jenkins, for your leadership and support for the Department of Emergency Services. Although it's no surprise that we will be getting a strong thunderstorm on a hot summer afternoon, this is one with the potential to be very strong. We could get 1 to 2 or even 3 inches of rain per hour this afternoon and into the evening. That means localized flooding should be expected. We are also monitoring the track of Tropical Storm Debbie, which could impact us later this week. Westchester County's departments throughout the county are very experienced in preparing for storm events. There will be more 911 dispatchers on staff, more road patrols by law enforcement, monitoring of road conditions by DPW, and our Emergency Operations Center is ready, and our swiftwater rescue teams are prepared. We also appreciate the support of Governor Hochul and New York State, which is sending us a state police team and a DEC rescue team in addition to support our county teams that are at the ready. Climate change continues to result in more frequent and more severe storms. We hope you take this one seriously. So what do we mean when we say take this storm seriously? Stay off the roads if possible, especially the ones you know from your communities flood the most quickly. Prepare for power outages. Charge your phones up now. Have flashlights and extra batteries ready. Have sufficient food and medications and water ready and available. And practice safe generator safety if you use a home generator. We thank you for your time and attention. This information is for your safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you very much, Susan Spear, our Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Emergency Services. We also want you to remember that we always encourage you to have an emergency preparedness kit that would include certain basic things you would need so that you don't necessarily have to go out of the house. If you have discretionary time as you're hearing this before the rain comes, making sure that you have water available at home, canned foods, packaged foods, things that will provide nourishment for you should you be unable, given your circumstances, to get out to a store at some other time, and then all the different things that goes with that, flashlights and batteries, a first aid kit. These are good things to have at any point in time. We tend to worry about the leaky roof when it starts to rain, so worry about the empty cupboard now before you're in a position where you have to need that. We're very fortunate to have very professional men and women who serve us as members of the Department of Public Safety, routinely called the county police. Many times when you're speeding on the hutch, you get introduced to members of the county police department. You shouldn't be speeding on the hutch, as I pointed myself. But the bottom line is Chief Luciano, under the leadership of Commissioner Terrence Raynor and others, have done an exemplary job in keeping us safe, and they will be out there in the worst conditions tonight to continue to keep us safe. Chief, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, sir. As the county executive stated earlier, we will have extra patrols out in the next couple days, beginning with tonight, to the impending forecast. That'll include regular routine road patrols in addition to our emergency service unit personnel. As we always urge to stay off the roads unless absolutely necessary during severe weather. Flash flooding can occur quickly and swamp vehicles and put motorists in significant danger. The county executive mentioned the barricades are put in place for a reason. Do not drive around them. Over the years, county police officers and our emergency service unit personnel, as swiftwater rescue teams, have responded to rescue numerous motorists who have been stranded in rising water when their cars have stalled on flooded roadways and parkways. In addition to likely damaging your vehicle, you may also be putting your life and your loved ones at risk. So we ask you to heed these warnings. Thank you.
And may I add that please follow the instructions of police professionals wherever you may find them, whether they're local city, town, village police, state police, or county police. The directions they give you is for your own safety and your own best interests. Next up, our Commissioner of Public Health, Dr. Shalita Amler, is constantly, and her team constantly on the watch for things that might affect our health and how do we work in advance to protect that health. And in moments like this where there is a crisis, sometimes we might take action that winds up being unwise. So Dr. Amler, give us a reminder of some of the things we need to be thoughtful about.
Thank you. Well, generators was mentioned, and so I would like to remind everybody that it's very important where you put your generator, not just for today and tomorrow, but as we get into hurricane season. So never put your generator in your house, never put it in your garage, never put it near a window. Generators create carbon monoxide, and carbon monoxide can kill you. So you don't want to put it anywhere where carbon monoxide could get into living space. Before we have storms, bad weather, it's always a good idea, if you take medications that are essential to your health, that you make a list of them, because if you have to evacuate, you would need to know what medicines, and you should have a couple days medicine put into a go pack that you could just pick up and walk out the door with. That's always very helpful. And also have a list of your medicines. Residents who use oil tanks, and I know I can't do this for today, but we have Tropical Storm Debbie potentially coming our direction. So we would really encourage you to top off your fuel tanks. And also, if you have above ground tanks, those should be securely strapped to prevent tipping over during flooding. And just the tanks, if you fill them, they're less likely to pull up and flip over and spill their contents. So always make sure this time of year, keep your tank filled. When it comes to food safety, during storms, if you lose power, naturally your refrigerator no longer works. So when is food safe to eat? Well, first I would say, when in doubt, pitch it out, because it is really not worth getting sick for. Frozen foods will stay a long time if you don't open your refrigerator, and frozen foods are always safe to eat. So try not to open your refrigerator, freezer any more than you have to. If foods have been in a warm temperature for more than 2 hours, or if they've come in contact with flood water, they should be discarded. If there's prolonged outages, you want to discard food that have been above 45 degrees, and these would include things like meat, poultry, seafood, coast cuts, hot dogs, eggs, cream, sour cream, yogurt, milk, custards, cheeses, cooked vegetables, casseroles, cookie or a bread dough, your salad dressings, anything that potentially that, you know, when you think about, could this make me sick? If you're concerned, it's not worth it. If you have a long outage, you want to make sure that you clean and disinfect your refrigerator. If you have appliances that get wet, you want to turn off your electricity at the main fuse box or the circuit breaker, then unplug the appliances, let them dry out, Have the appliances checked by a professional before using them again. And I guess the last thing I would say is that storm cleanups can create a great deal of garbage, which invites insects and rodents. So you want to store your trash bags in an airtight, rodent-proof container, tightly covered with a tightly covered lid. And then the very last thing that I will say is, if you're trying to clean up debris with a chainsaw, please be very, very careful. Chainsaws are very dangerous, and accidents can happen. So you only want to use that if you know how to use it properly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amler. I failed to introduce when we were having our discussion that we've been joined by a new member of our executive team, our Director of Flood Mitigation for Westchester County, Dean Teruli. Dean, thank you for being with us today. Welcome to Westchester in a baptism, if not by fire, then by water as part of the process. We're very happy to have Dean on board, and he's working with our different municipal governments on these issues, which really shared by all of us together. Next up, I'm going to ask Ken Jenkins, Deputy County Executive, to talk a little bit about some of the power issues that we have. We don't know how tonight's storm will affect us in that regard. We know that Tropical Storm Debbie may be following shortly. That may involve winds. Oftentimes when we have wind and rain, we have power lines go down. So we're not sure what will happen tonight, but be prepared for the outcome either way. Ken.
Thanks, George, and thank you for all of our professionals that continue to make sure that every Westchester resident is staying safe through these particular opportunities, with whether it's bad weather or Tropical Storm Debbie. Debbie's at home watching right now. The Tropical Storm Debbie, that's my wife's name, and so it's just a kind of normal thing. The reality for all of us, though, is that the potential power problems that can happen. Dr. Amler and certainly Susan Spear, our Deputy Commissioner of Emergency Services, pointed this out as well, that we do have our professionals, folks for Con Ed and for NYSEG, that are at the ready for these particular scenarios as well, putting people in different places to make sure things move forward. But we should always make sure that you should be ready for those potential outages. Most of the facilities, whether it's Con Ed or NYSEG, have the ability to do text messaging, so you should have signed up for those already. We recommend that all the time to make sure that you are able to connect to the utilities, to your public utilities, should the power go out in your house. And quite frankly, it may also impact your cellular service at a particular time, usually not right away. So make sure you plug in all of your essential equipment, whether that is your cell phone, making sure they're charged up. If you have battery backups for that, make sure those are all charged up and that they're ready. For your flashlights, have those batteries, fresh batteries in them. I took out a flashlight this morning, tried to turn it on, it didn't work, so I reached down and got some new batteries for that. Today's event is going to be primarily heavy rain, but those winds could just change things in a heartbeat. Whether we're all in this beautiful Westchester County and it's lots of nice trees around, those things could snap off, and the next thing you know, your power could be down. If you see a power line down, do not get close to it. Do not try to get it out. If you're in your vehicle and that happens, the emergency services folks tell us, stay in the car, do not get out. And certainly our members from public safety and law enforcement in the communities would tell you the same thing. Make sure that you make a call from your car. Do not move. Do not try to get out. Do not try to make a change. Again, later on this week with the tropical storm, we're expecting heavy winds, but there may be some heavy gusts of wind now. And what we don't talk about is the flash flooding that can happen. So something is raining most northern in the county. The flash flood can happen no matter where you are. And that's why we have all of our swift water boats ready to do that. Again, make sure you never run the generator, as everyone has said so far, in the basement, in the garage, a carport, or in your porch. Again, the carbon monoxide is odorless. You can die. So you do not want to do that. You don't want to sit in a vehicle inside of a place like your garage and keep that garage closed because the air conditioning in your house is out because the power is down. You do not want to do any of those things. Do not exceed the rated capacity of your generator. So don't try to plug in the whole neighborhood. If it's rated for just having a refrigerator plugged in, plug in the refrigerator and everyone else can stay in the dark. Overloading your generator can not only damage that and any appliance connected to it, but also a fire could result. So we do not want to have that particular scenario. If your generator has a detachable fuel tank, fuel tank, remove it before refilling. Whatever those instructions are, please follow those. Again, make sure you do that in an outside area that is well ventilated. And if you cannot do that removal, you have to shut off your generator and let it cool off before trying to refill. Again, another potential fire issue. If you lose power, if you don't have the app already set up on your phone for Con Ed or for NYSEG, you can call those Con Ed numbers. They're scrolling on the screen right now. For Con Ed, it's 875 Con Ed, and for NYSEG, it is for the electric side of NYSEG, it's 800-572-1131. And for NYSEG's gas lines, it's a separate number, 800-572-1121. And again, if you see a power line down, do not get close to that. Do not try to move things around. Let the professionals come in and do their work so you can stay safe. Back to you, George.
Thank you, Ken. Now, most folks, when the workday is over, assuming you work a 9 to 5, 8 to 6 standard workday, most people go home after that. That is not my life personally, nor is it Ken's. But many people do have plans in the summer evenings to take in certain activities at night. Please be aware that the vast majority of events that have been scheduled for tonight in the various communities have been canceled. Some are postponed to dates specific. Some are open-endedly postponed, and we'll wait to hear when those dates are rescheduled. This is particularly a difficult night because tonight is identified nationwide as National Night Out, in which local police departments all across the country, and certainly in Westchester County and in the localities of Westchester County, they have a large block party that involves police and the local community. It's a festive night. It's a night to enjoy each other's company, get a chance to meet your local police, get to know them on a personal basis. They get to see you. And most of our communities do those events, and we have a county one that we have normally on Kensico Dam Plaza. Tonight, they are almost all canceled for tonight, postponed to different dates. But I will repeat them as a Metro North conductor might, just to remind you that these are where we're closed down. There are 4 of them in Yonkers with each of the 4 police precincts. They're postponed tonight. Mount Vernon, Eastchester, Bronxville, Tuckahoe are all postponed. Greenburgh, we have the Village of Mamaroneck, Village of Portchester, Mount Pleasant, Sleepy Hollow, both summer concert at Sleepy Hollow tonight, all postponed. White Plains is National Night Out, Bedford, New Rochelle, Village of Ossining, all of those have been canceled. We understand that the Peekskill National Night Out has been moved indoors to the neighborhood center, which is located at 4 Nelson Avenue. If you know Peekskill, that's where the library is, Field Library, right opposite City Hall. That National Night Out is going indoors as of this moment. We're in the 3 o'clock hour. If you live in Peekskill, double check to make sure. Village of Croton's National Night Out is not postponed at this point. They say it's going to end early. Double check that if you would. And the same we're reporting at this point is true in Mount Kisco. But there are some hours of time between now and when these programs would begin, so we ask you to double check and look. The Rye-Town Park concert in the city of Rye has been canceled for tonight, and as I mentioned a second ago, Sleepy Hollow has a summer concert which is canceled for tonight. Now, the rain is not going to stop necessarily today. The reports are we're going to get a consistent amount of rain going forward. So for those of you that might go to a Wednesday night summer concert, and they're in many different communities, check ahead, and they probably aren't yet canceled for tomorrow, but sometime in the beginning of the day tomorrow they will cancel. All of those events are canceled at this point. I want to point out as well that when we get a heavy rainfall, as we do now, it may compromise the bacteria levels in our various river and our Long Island Sound beaches. It is the responsibility of the Department of Health to check the bacteria levels and to make sure that the waters are safe to swim. When we get rain like this, almost assuredly, beaches are closed tomorrow. Now, if it also rains tomorrow, the beaches will be closed because of rain. But regardless of that, if you're thinking that tomorrow you're going to go out and take a swim, you might find, even if the weather conditions allow for it, the beaches may be closed. Our Department of Health will be working over a long period of time to make sure that they check. But this is for our safety. If we go out in the water, you want to be sure that you can have a safe experience. There's no purpose, and Charlita said this relative to food in your refrigerator. The same is true in going out in the water. There really is no point in going out to get sick when you can just delay that for another day or two. The center of Tropical Storm Debbie has been located inland over southeastern Georgia, and it's on a track to head north, as all of these are. Now, we never know what's going to happen with these storms. You may remember a few years ago we had a hurricane called Isaias that came through in about 3 hours. Rainfall, minimal. Heavy winds took out power lines and gave us a 3, 4, 5-day power problem. We had Hurricane Ida, made landfall September of 21, I think, made landfall in New Orleans. We thought, well, that didn't hit us. That's over in the Mississippi River Valley, but it stalled over Westchester on its way north and gave us a terrible flooding experience. So whatever it is that we're hearing about Tropical Storm Debbie, we don't know until we know. And Debbie, letter D, that's how early we are in our hurricanes. When we get to Hurricane Zelda, we might be coming closer to the end of this run. But there are plausible impacts. It appears at this point we'll get heavy rainfall later in the week. It says in the period of time of Friday through Sunday, and it just depends on the route and the intensity of it. But we're going to be on the lookout for it. Now, the problem being is that the ground will be saturated from tonight and from tomorrow night before Debbie arrives. Debbie arrives with additional rain, and our drainage system is based on the capacity to absorb and to flush out water using our rivers and gravity system to take it out to the Sound and to the river, Hudson River. We may not be able to move that water out if it's high tide or if the ground is particularly saturated, then it becomes excessive runoff, and that's when you get the backup and the flooding that's still ahead of us, and we have a lot of work to do on that. But we're watching the National Weather Service and trying to make as intelligent decisions with our resources as we can. If you have something in your possession that might flood, a garage door, a basement door, sandbags to protect some of that runoff would be a wise thing to do. If you can do it now before it starts to rain, all the better. If you have to do it in the early part of the rainstorm, do it. It will help reduce the amount of flooding you get. Check your sump pump in the basement, all the things that we know we're supposed to do. I want to reiterate what Hugh Grecian said. If you are a regular Beeline bus traveler, a paratransit traveler, Beeline's still free. Check tomorrow morning to see what the schedules are. They may be affected by the weather. The same is true for Metro North and the 3 lines that serve Westchester County. And again, double check at the county airport and use common sense. And of course, follow our local media. There are things that you can follow online. Certain things will be posted on westchestergov.com. News 12, which is probably the best electronic coverage of Westchester County. We'll follow these things with a Westchester slant to it, so look for that and some of the other things you'll find on TV. We're very fortunate in Westchester County. I treat myself as a very fortunate individual. I have professionals around me who've devoted their life to the work that they're doing, a life of police work, a life of public health, a life of engineering, and what they can do. And their talents are brought to bear under the leadership of Joan McDonald, Emily Saltzman, our operation team leaders, Ken Jenkins' leadership, to try to do the best we can. No government is perfect, no individuals are perfect, and certainly in my role as county executive, there are things that I can and should do and there are things that I can't do. And like you, I'm going to try to be smart tonight and not be out in the middle of a pouring rainstorm. Nothing protects a county executive any more than protects you from driving through difficult weather conditions. But we care deeply that you're safe. We want you to get through this as we get through everything. We have snowstorms, we have rainstorms, and we'll have worse in days to come, whatever those calamities are. But we are resourceful people. We're tough people. We get through these things. We have professionals to help us get through if we only listen to them. And I'm confident that we'll get through this tonight. So thank you for watching. I hope this is of some valuable and help to you. It is in the 3 o'clock hour now. So if you're watching this on replay at 6 or 7 o'clock, things may have changed out in the community. So consult whatever media that you have available to your websites and television, radio to get a more updated report as the day goes along. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. Thank you for watching. Be safe.